If there's a few things that are true in this world, it's 1, taxes, 2, death, and 3, every developer has their favorite CSS framework or library. Most people are in love with Tailwind, some are in love with Material UI, others, Chakra UI, and me, Mantine. Mantine is a CSS component library that works with React, and it is super fast to get any kind of application going, with plenty of support for things like pagination, app shells, and all sorts of other things that make it super awesome. So by the end of this video, I'll give you a quick review of Mantine and let you know what's great about it. So before I show you any code or anything cool that I've built with Mantine, let's just explore it from a docs standpoint. So first of all, there's 120 customizable components built in with Mantine. It is free and open source, which to me is always a big old bonus. It's TypeScript based, so if you're a lover of TypeScript, you're gonna love this package. And of course, if you're not, it still works great. And they have this thing about focus rings will only appear when a user navigates the keyboard. Now, this is a thing that Chakra UI has that's super annoying. If you click in a certain area, it will show the ring as if you were going to be tabbing around on the screen, and Mantine takes care of that. So let's get in. They have all these different packages, and they're not all required to use the product. The only thing that you need is the core and the hooks for state management, and the core for all the input buttons, overlays, etc. Now, if you want dates, they have the Mantine Dates package, notifications package, Prism for code highlighting, RTE, which is a rich text editor that's built on top of Quill.js, which is one of my favorite features, and Drop Zone for capturing files via drag and drop, and finally, modals if you so wish. Now, they have all sorts of ways to get started: Gatsby, React, Vite, and of course, Remix, the newest, hottest framework. And you can use a simple guide to get started. Now, some of the really cool things that I love about this is as follows. So one of the most annoying things about building any application is your app shell. It needs to be responsive, handle mobile, display all the things that you might need, and Mantine takes care of that. It gives you this great looking shell that you can then handle based upon the size of your screen, and it will be responsive. So this responsive version, if I open the example in a new tab here, you can see we have an application header and a nav bar, and if we F12 and we resize, you can see as we slowly start to shrink down, everything seems fine. Now you can see there's a layout shift. And then if we go all the way down to smaller sizes, say 600 pixels or less, now you have this hamburger menu that's already built in and already ready to go. And then you just have to fill in all the data that's there. Now, this is super useful for building out that MVP. You don't have to worry about all this kind of stuff. You just fill in the content and they'll handle it via dark mode or light mode. Whatever you need, this is handled. Next on my list of favorite things is pagination. Pagination is an absolute pain. When you implement it yourself, you have to figure out a way to make the UI look great and also obviously handle all the JavaScript that comes along with it. So Mantine takes care of all the component-based things, and you just have to fill in what you need. So here's an example, and what I really love about their docs is they give you the ability to sort of change the colors, size, shape, and with controls and edges, all those kinds of things, all in one place. So you don't have to be like, oh, how do I do this? What does it look like? Should I change it? You can do it all in the docs. So right now, this is a medium size, and you can go all the way up to extra large. Bearing in mind, this is zoomed in at 150%, so it's not quite this big, but you get the idea. Then you can pick the color, so let's say violet or grape here, and then let's pick a radius. So we can have just a square, we can have slightly rounded corners, more rounded corners, start to look like a circle, and circles. And then we can add or remove these controls, and also with edges, And then down here, they give you the code to just copy and drop right into your application. And this is for every single component that you have here, you can do this with, which makes it super awesome to be like, oh, I really like the way this looks. Here is my pre-built components. On top of that, they show you how to use controls, as in the state. And then obviously you can add all sorts of different things and customize it further. So here we have siblings, boundaries that you can change, and then they have accessibility, which is key throughout all their documentation, is accessibility, and that's super awesome. Next on the list is loading overlays. If you ever just wanted to stop your user from using an application while it's loading data, saving data, modifying data, whatever. And it becomes this kind of battle between like, how do I stop this from happening using a modal and also present something nicely? Well, they have this loading overlay, which I'll give you an example right here. As you can see, we now have this disabled and we can't actually do anything inside of here. And it is doing a spinning loader. What's cool about this is the loading part is actually customizable all the way up to how it looks. So they have a separate feedback called the loader, which you can see right here. And this is what we just saw on screen. So we can change the color here. We can make it huge. We can make it tiny. And then we can also do different shapes and styles. So here we have bars, which I really love, or dots, the classic loader. So with that, you can essentially stop people from handling data after they've hit that submit button, and you don't have to worry about a weird edge case where somebody's figured out that they can still modify stuff by, hitting Shift Tab and then typing in a field. All of that is disabled. Talking about data and loading, notifications are really, really gorgeous in Mantine. So here we have some examples of their notifications. They have a default one here. They have one with a check mark, one with a cross, and one that's actually uploading data that you can then shift out with a different type. These are all done really easily. It's just the word notification, loading, title, and then disallow close stops you from being able to close this until it's done. This is really good for giving feedback to your users. And then obviously, if something goes well, you can display a different notification, such as this one here, with that information. And last, and by me no least, I really like the skeleton component here that allows you to do some cool stuff. So here we have a standard version, unanimated. It just shows a few different versions of skeleton. Here we have a circle. And then here underneath, we just have some basic text that could be loading in. And then when you hit animate, you get this like nice sort of pulsing effect as it goes along. And you can also do this with content. So toggle the skeleton. You can make it visible propped so that it only shows when certain conditions are met. So I've talked about a few of my favorite features, and I think that you should check this out on your own time and play around with all their different things and items, such as popovers maybe, or you want to check out modals, which they do really well as well. Let me show you what I've built with it. If you've been on the channel for a while, you'll know that I run a SaaS called Roll Your Tweet. It allows you to roll a tweet into a blog post. Now, this has been revamped and revitalized recently, and there's been a lot of improvements. Alongside a lot of backend improvements, I actually redid the UI to make it a bit more user-friendly. So here you can see I'm using that app kind of layout, and I've built my own set of sections here. We have a creative section, we have a settings section, a feedback, and down here we have our clerk user settings. If I click this, I can manage my account. Then we have this section which is built using groups. So I've built this using a group and a card. And this card is default, so I didn't have to do any styling. This is just how it came out of the box. And if you scroll down a bit further, I have pagination here, which allows me to move through all my different items here and go back, all the way back to an old tweet from forever ago. And I can go all the way forward to a brand new tweet that I tweeted yesterday. On top of that, we have this little input section down here with a cool little tooltip that was implemented with a single line of code. Next up is the editing experience. I'm using the Mantine RTE, which was that rich text editor, which is powered by Quill in the back end. This was implemented in basically 3 lines of code. I had nothing else to do. All I'm doing is tracking the state change here, and the rest is done for me. Then that allows me to think about other pieces of the backend and other technology without having to worry about building out rich text editors. If you've never built a rich text editor before or used one, they're an absolute pain to produce, use, and it just drives me nuts. One thing to talk about is Loader. I showed you that loading earlier in the video, and we also have it here in this app. You can see it just here. And then finally, I've built some modals as well. So you can see there's a modal here. It was really quick to implement, and I really, really love it. So that's enough about me talking about my Sass and Mantine. You should really check it out if you want an easy to use component library that allows you to move quickly and easily. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop it a like. If you did really enjoy this video and you want to see a Mantine tutorial, please let me know in the comments. I will happily do a tutorial on this. And until next time, see ya.